Welcome to Faith and Freedom. For the next few minutes, we hope to inform, inspire, and encourage you as we discuss legal victories and challenges to your fundamental freedom and religious liberties. Faith and Freedom comes to you from Liberty Counsel, a civil liberties education and legal defense organization. Join us now as Matt Staver, founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel, explains the latest legal issues all across this country. In the courtrooms of America, Liberty Counsel is winning the battle for your constitutional freedom.
A federal court of appeals blocks California's bill that bans change therapy. Hi, I'm Matt Staver, founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel. Joining me is Matt Barber, vice president of Liberty Counsel Action. Matt, just a few days before Christmas, on December 21, we got great news from the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals that blocked the enforcement or blocked the implementation of California Bill SB 1172 because it was getting ready to go into effect on January 1 this year. And now we're in the process of filing briefs and arguing the case later this year. But it's good news that so far this law has been blocked.
Yeah, fantastic news. Our clients are very happy. These young people, Matt, as you know, that are receiving the kind of counseling they need to reconcile some unwanted same-sex attractions that they're experiencing with their sincerely held religious and moral beliefs. They are able to continue on with this counseling that is very beneficial. And Matt, this is just, it's frightening what the really the radical homosexual activist lobby is doing in trying to interject and interfere with the rights of parents, the rights of young people, the rights of counselors. And they're all doing it under the cynical guise of helping children, but really it's about furthering their radical political agenda, isn't it?
It is. Well, we got a 3-0 decision, which is great news, that ultimately blocked this particular law. Had it gone into effect on January 1, just a few days ago, then what would ultimately happen is the counsel that our minors, the clients that we represent, and their parents received on December 31, that they could reduce or eliminate same-sex attractions or behavior consistent with their moral and religious beliefs would absolutely change 180 degrees, that they should not even attempt to do that because it's good and natural and normal, and what needs to happen is not reducing your same-sex attractions or behavior, but modifying your religious values. That's the 180 degrees that would have happened between December 31 and January 1. Counselors in California would have been forced to affirm homosexuality and other kinds of same-sex attractions and behavior as normal, natural, and good. Affirm them. They would not be able to, consistent with their religious values, consistent with their clients' ultimate goals and right of self-determination, counsel them to reduce or eliminate those kinds of attractions or behaviors. You can imagine someone being molested by the likes of a Jerry Sandusky. And this happens often when someone like this young boy is actually molested by somebody like Jerry Sandusky. They develop identity issues, they develop confusion, anger, and then they may also develop these same-sex attractions and want to act out in the abusive way that they were in fact abused. If they come to a counselor, if this law was then actually going into effect now, the counselor would not be able to say to the client to reduce or eliminate that kind of behavior, but in fact would have to affirm that kind of behavior as natural and normal.
Yeah, Matt, you point out the molestation aspect of this, and it's remarkable to me that the left will deny this, but even the researchers with the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, for instance, have found that men who end up identifying as homosexual or gay are 3 times as likely to have been molested as a child and by someone of the same sex. And there was another study that said as many as 46% of people who took part in this study, at least of men, were also molested by a man of the same sex, and then later on in life. So there's definitely a correlation. There's debate about causation here, certainly, but the reality is that this law says to a counselor, if you have a child, walk into your office who has been sexually molested by a man and says, I'm experiencing same-sex attractions clearly as a result of that molestation, that at that point the counselor is left no alternative under this law but to say, nope, sorry, you're gay. You're stuck with it. That is your, quote, sexual orientation. Am I right? They cannot help them
No, that's exactly right. Yeah, you're right. And, even the American Psychological Association Task Force and others, and even GLSEN, the Gay, Lesbian, Straight Education Network, say that sexual orientation or these same-sex attractions is fluid. It changes. It fluctuates. And even, for example, within adolescents that experience those kinds of attractions, they oftentimes just spontaneously disappear without any counseling or intervention at all. So what happens if some young boy has these kind of attractions? They're molested, for example, which often occurs. They come in and they have these struggles. They're wanting to get help. They're wanting to align their values as a priority. They come into a counselor, and the counselor then is going to further confuse them and say, don't worry about that. That's natural and normal. You ought to just go with it. If you've got a problem, if you're feeling guilty, if you're feeling that you shouldn't be doing this, let's explore that issue. Yeah. Let's change those religious beliefs. You need to have your religious beliefs conform to your behavior rather than your behavior conform to your religious beliefs. That's exactly what would happen under this law.
Matt, I recently wrote an article pointing out what you just mentioned, that the GLSEN, the Gay, Lesbian, Straight Education Network, as well as PFLAG, Parents, Families, and Friends of Lesbians and Gays, use educational materials. It's amazing the doublespeak that we see here coming from the left. When they have a captive audience with these kids, they will tell them, and this is from their materials, sexuality is fluid. That's a quote. It can change over time. And Matt, listen to this admission. On the Klein scale, GLSEN and PFLAG materials say this, quote, a homosexual may change to a bisexual or heterosexual identity. So they admit it out of one side of their mouth, but then when it comes to the political aspect of it, because they have to say that it's unchangeable, immutable for their political goals, they use these children shamelessly as pawns in order to push their radical agenda, really just imprisoning these kids in a lifestyle that we know can end up being destructive in terms of sexually transmitted disease and so forth, yet they push this lie that change is impossible when it suits them politically.
That's exactly right. You know, in fact, one of the counselors that we represent in the case, we represent counselors and counseling associations, and we represent parents and we represent minors, but one of the counselors was actually sexually abused when he was younger and developed these same-sex sexual attractions. Ultimately was able to find good counseling and now counsels people who are struggling with these very same issues. But on the one hand, they acknowledge the fluidity of same-sex sexual attractions, that it's not something that you're going to be permanently locked into. On the other hand, politically, they want to give the impression that that's the way it is so that they can push their agenda. And once they get their view enshrined into law, like in this law here, they will then use it to ultimately abolish a marriage, abolish morality, and punish anyone who does not agree and affirm and promote their idea. I mean, that's exactly what's happening here. This is a wake-up call to America. This is not tolerance. This is not let's all live together and be happily ever after. This is if you actually have a belief that homosexuality or same-sex behavior is wrong, you are not able to express that as a counselor. You're not able to receive that information as a minor client, and you're not able to provide that information to your child who's struggling.
Well, the good news is, Matt, as you opened up with, but the Ninth Circuit, which is known for being a very liberal circuit, Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, said, hey, hold on there, California, not so fast, and they have granted our injunction. What does that mean going forward?
Well, what it means right now is that the law is not in effect. It is enjoined. We had to file a major brief on January the 2nd. We did that working through the New Year holiday and post-Christmas holiday and right up to Christmas. So we filed that at the end of this month. The state of California has to file its response. Then we file our final brief in early, mid-February. And then during the week of April 15, I'll be arguing it at the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. We should have a decision later this year. But what we're asking for this court to do is to permanently block this law. It is temporarily blocked. We want it permanently banned. Give us a call at Liberty Counsel at 1-800-671-1776. Also visit our website at lc.org. Sign up for our Liberty Alert emails. You can also sign up for our activism emails, the Grassroots Action email right there on the website, lc.org. You can also visit our other website, libertycounsel.com, libertycounsel.com. That integrates all of our various ministries of Liberty Counsel. This year we have called the year for the new birth of liberty, going with the theme of Abraham Lincoln. It is time for a new birth of liberty, a spiritual birth, and a renewal of our civil body politic. Join with Liberty Counsel right now in your prayers and financial support as we celebrate a new birth of liberty in 2013. Go to lc.org.
You have been listening to Faith and Freedom with Liberty Counsel. We hope that we have motivated you to stand up for your faith, family, and freedom. We can accomplish a lot when we work together. Get informed and get involved today. Sign up for our free monthly newsletter, The Liberator. We will send it out to you free of charge. Stay informed with our Liberty Alert email updates. Just click on the website at www.lc.org or call us at 1-800-671-1776. Tune in next time to learn more about your rights right here on Faith and Freedom.